So, to start off, some practices of self love that resonate with me. So, first, let's define radical self love. So, in the book, it says radical self love is its own entity, a lush and verdant island offering self harbor for self esteem and self confidence. Now, I did have to read it a few times just because the wording kind of threw me off. So basically, how I view it in my head is self love is its own entity, it's its own thing, and the self harbor part is what you use to build off it to create your own self esteem and self confidence. So, practices that resonate with me, I got two of them from the three pieces part. So, the first one is the making peace with not understanding and making peace with your body. So, making peace with not understanding. So, it says that we liberate ourselves from the expectations that we must have all things figured out. And that is very true because I'm pretty sure all of us are at a really young age when we start experiencing like body dysmorphia, self hate towards our body, and just really wanting to change the way we look. So having just make keeping that in mind that we don't need to have all things figured out. We don't need to figure out how to have the perfect body at such a young age when we're still growing and developing. And making peace with your body. This one really made me feel a type of way because I haven't felt peace with my body up until about 6 months ago, and I'm 20 years old. So that was basically at like 19 and a half years of my life was when I started making peace with my body. The book also says my belief that, yeah, it says my belief that my body should look a different way is a reflection of my struggles. That is just really spot on and hit like really close to me just because if you are saying really negative and degrading things, it's just a reflection of yourself. If I'm saying, oh my gosh, like I wish I had this certain type of body, it's because I am just kind of projecting what I am like looking for in myself and somebody else. I really had that problem, and I used to say that a lot was, oh my gosh, like I wish I was as skinny as her. And it's because deep down, I really wanted to just look like that, but I was just reflecting on what I wanted. And it was really toxic for me and the people around me to hear that. Another thing that I found interesting was that the book said in the statement, hating your body is like finding a person you despise and then choosing to spend the rest of your life with them while loathing every moment of partnership. That one also really hit home for me just because I did go through a part of my life where I did not like my body, did not like how I looked, didn't like my weight, hated looking in the mirror, hated looking at myself, I hated the way I felt. And this statement right here is like, hating your body is like being with someone you loathe. You get one body and you just need to cherish it the way that it is because if you don't cherish it, you're going to go your whole life just hating yourself and you're never going to find peace or happiness that way. So when you hate your body and you continue to hate it and you don't break the cycle, you don't just accept the fact that you have the one body and you just need to love yourself, it can affect your future. So when you have kids, something that the textbook pointed out was you're not going to have pictures for your kids growing up of what you looked like because you didn't want to, because you didn't like your body. You're not going to take pictures of your kids while you're growing up, and they're not going to have pictures of you when they were young because you didn't like your body. And your teenager is going to be left wondering if they should hate their body because you hate yours. This one, again, also really just made me like it hit me like a brick because my mom, she still does this to this day, but especially growing up through high school, middle school, every day she would weigh herself and say, I wish I was skinnier. I wish I weighed like less. And she'd always grab her stomach. My mom had four kids. I'm the fourth one. So she has a lot of excess skin, and it's not fat, it's excess skin. And my mom really just hates on herself every day, says really negative things. And growing up, me too, I thought, oh, well, I shouldn't have excess skin. My stomach shouldn't look a certain way or should look a certain way. And my mom still does it to this day. Thankfully, I have kind of broken out of that pattern and I don't weigh myself every day. I don't think my stomach should look a certain way just because I know how toxic that could be because I grew up every day with my mom saying negative things like that, and it took a toll on me. And what are some of the pieces of self love that I um, can implement into my own self liberatory beauty? So it's just accepting that I'm not going to have everything figured out, and what was the other one here? And making peace with my body. I'm so sorry. Making peace with my body. Again, I need to just accept the fact that I'm young. I'm barely 20 years old. I still have so much ahead of me. I still have college to finish. I still have a new life to get started once I finish college. I'm not going to have everything figured out right now. Something really I just tell myself every day is I need to take it day by day. I can't get ahead of myself and I can't live in the past. Just because if I do that, I won't be able to live in the present day. So just taking things day by day, accepting that what the future holds, the future is going to hold, and we'll see when the future comes. But things in the past I can't change, so I can't live in the past and wish that things could be different because that's what shaped who I am today. The three tools that really stood out to me were the tool number 2, number 8, and number 10. So tool number 2 is curb body bad mouthing. So this is calling yourself mean things, however, not allowing others to speak to themselves that way. This is something I have been very much guilty of and seen other people do as well. So calling myself mean things. I personally now I'm not a fat person. I'm pretty average if you ask me, not too skinny. I'm like in the middle, not too skinny, I'm not big. And I've been just guilty of calling myself mean things, saying that I'm fat, I'm this, I'm chubby, I'm thick, when I'm not. It's just me projecting my insecurities onto everybody else. But when somebody else were to speak to themselves that way, I would be so quick to be like, hey, like, don't say that about yourself. But it's just that thing that it's like we do it to ourselves, but we don't want other people to do it. How we speak about our bodies impacts how we experience them. So again, me changing my ways of saying, oh my gosh, I'm fat, I'm this, I'm that, whether saying, oh, well, I ate today, I have a full stomach, I'm healthy, I'm nourished, that really just changes the perspective and changes like a negative thing into a good thing. Tool number 8 was making a new story. And this one really, again, resonates with me because just a few months ago, I was really just getting into new habits and breaking out of those bad habits of me not loving my body, loving myself. So we have the power to create a new story, whether it's changing our body or not, or accepting to live in our own body and loving ourselves. We have the power to do that. Nobody else does. We do. And discomfort is a catalyst for change, meaning that if I'm not happy with myself, I can either do something about it physically or mentally. So I could either go on a diet, start doing exercise, start eating healthier, or I can just change my mentality and thinking, I love myself the way I am. I get one body and I'm going to cherish it. And it's mine. Why would I spend the rest of my life hating my body when I could spend the rest of my life loving my body? So, and the last one is tool number 10, which is giving yourself grace. Now, one thing that I heard from my softball coach that can be used in softball, but it can also be used outside of softball. She said, and I will never forget, is give yourself the grace that you give others. So, for example, softball is a really negative sport and we can really be hard on ourselves. However, we're not as hard as on our teammates as we're on ourselves. So, giving yourself the grace that you give others. For example, somebody else makes a mistake. I'm like, hey, you got the next one. Don't worry about it. But if I were to make a mistake, I'm very hard on myself. Excuse me. So just reversing the rules and just being patient with yourself, just as you are with other people. One thing that the book did say was there will be days where I won't like my body. It doesn't mean that I'm failing at self radical love. It just means that I'm so human in a world that profits off body shaming, which again is very true. I could one day love myself and then the next day feel guilty about my body because I'm looking at a supermodel modeling bathing suits and she has a thin hourglass body, and it's normal, it's human of me to either feel jealous, feel a certain type of way because she looks a certain way and I don't. That doesn't take anything away from my beauty. It's just the way it is and the way social media is gonna advertise these girls that look a certain way and not the average human being. Something that I also liked was that the act of giving yourself grace is a practice of loving you that does not like your body. So just giving yourself grace, even though you may not like your body, it's going to help shape the future you to love your body and to grow into it. And so, lastly, or what are my biggest takeaways from this class that does inform liberating beauty as I use this knowledge in my everyday life? So, I think about this class every day because I see everything different now, and all the stuff I see on social media started from a long time ago with the Western beauty culture, the Westernization. If you think about it, a lot of social media influencers are these thin white girls that really don't do anything for their fame. They're just famous because they're pretty. And it's as a person of color, and I'm sure as a lot of people of color feel the same way as well, as we have to work so much harder as opposed to white people who just get everything handed to them because they look a certain way. But a big takeaway that I could take from this is that beauty is subjective and it's in its own way. I'm still beautiful if I have hair on my arms. I have so much hair on my body, my arms, my legs. Meanwhile, someone blonde has like very like it's not as visible as mine is. That doesn't make me any less beautiful. And I shouldn't feel pressured by her, society, men to want to remove my body hair. That was something I was really insecure about. And just knowing that I'm unique and I should really express that instead of feeding into social media's beauty standards and just society's beauty standards and having to look a certain way. I'm beautiful the way I am and I need to love that instead of spending the rest of my life hating the person that I am. So yeah, this class really helped me, just not physically, but also mentally as well. Just saying nice things and not feeding into what social media and society have to say and have them affect how I feel about myself.